Yeah, so then I guess you mentioned it for a second earlier, but moving on to the film discussion portion of the show. So for anyone tuning in for the first time, how this works is I recommend the guest a movie, the guest recommends me a movie, and we discuss. But I found it funny that when we were trying to work out that part of the show, you had seen a lot of the movies that I had suggested. So congratulations, you stumped the chump. so so yeah, no, we settled on two. You because you put out a list with Silverado being on there. I kind of wish that I'd gone back and watched that one now that I know that it's one of your favorites. But again, I'll just have to check that out sometime and follow up with you on it. But the movies we'll be discussing today are What We Do in the Shadows and Gandahar / Light Years. So I guess we can go into What We Do with the Shadows first then. So anyone who hasn't seen it, there's also a successful television show based off that movie, but it's essentially a mockumentary about a group of vampires just living their night to night lifestyle. So tell me what do you think about What We Do in the Shadows?
Oh, I just thought the whole premise was brilliant. And the cast that they chose was they just completely submersed themselves and understood what they were making, and it was just such an original thing. And they just really took the comedy of the potential comedy of being a vampire in modern times, and the stupid little things that you would be confronted with on a daily basis that you wouldn't think about being a normal human being, like having to be invited into a nightclub, and they're like, because the bouncer isn't inviting them in, but they can't go in unless they get them. And it's just hilarious. Just the situational humor is just wonderful.
And I love the writing too. It's very unpredictable in the way that like all the sort of not necessarily like twists in like a theatrical sense, but all of like the weird avenues it goes down with like spoilers if you haven't seen the movie yet, but when they have to like teach the younger guy how to become a vampire and like trying to wrangle him in when he's like out telling everybody that they're vampires and all that. And like just the dynamic they have with like their human friends. The performances in that movie are fantastic, and I think it really speaks to Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement's ability to sort of improvise on the spot and come up with really, really hilarious dialogue and situations.
Yeah, I loved it. I guess, yeah, that would be one of my top favorite movies too.
Again, funny enough, because not a lot of people consider that one to be a horror movie, but I'd argue that it has
Did I say
some
horror?
good. What's that?
Did I say horror?
No, but it is very much a horror comedy. I would say a lot of people think of it as a straight up comedy, but I think that there's there's definitely some themes there that are like there's like little jump scares or definitely there's horror elements to appreciate and I think as well. And I think it adds to the hilarity of the situation, like just like knowing, oh yeah, we have this roommate down in the basement who we have to throw in a chicken every once in a while to keep him calm. I don't know. It blends both of those genres very, very well, I think, even though I would consider it primarily a comedy.
Yeah, it's got a lot of gore. So.
Oh yeah. Did you have to not look for any of that movie, or were you just laughing too hard?
That one was totally fine. I don't think I looked away, except for maybe the Pischetti. The Pischetti kind of got me.
The Pischetti.
That was gross.
Oh man, it's I love the because I don't know off the top of my head what the budget was, but I want to say it was a relatively low budget movie. I love what they're able to achieve with a lot of the practical effects they have, like with the like people walking on the walls and the ceiling and the I don't know, just the even though there's definitely like moments where it's like, okay, they had to go back and add that in post. I love that how practical everything about that movie is. It really comes across I don't know the word for it. It really comes across like it was made with a lot of care and attention to detail.
Yeah. I wonder what the bat fight, how they did that. Then maybe puppets.
Probably, yeah, or maybe that was one of the few CGI bits. But I love that too. When they just like bat fight. It's just like angles that you wouldn't think about, or the like the little rivalry they have with the werewolf chapter of supernatural beings too. Like I love how they keep coming back.
Yeah, the dynamic is hilarious.
What would you say is your favorite sequence in that entire movie? Whether it be just from a like pure enjoyment standpoint, or like what do you think the funniest scene is? What's your favorite part of that movie?
I think it's the end, but I don't know if I should say.
I think we can spoil it. I always tease the movie and the movies we'll be talking about in the previous episode, so people, if they haven't seen the movies we're talking about by now, then that's on them.
Okay, I think it's my favorite part is when the werewolves and the vampires are all hanging out, basically out of their mutual respect for their previously human friend, you know, and they're just like, oh, I guess they're okay, you know, they're not peeing on everything or whatever. I like that, where, you know, they're definitely staunchly against it, and then they slowly, they're like, oh no, dude's okay, oh no, don't mess with him, he's our friend. And
Yeah.
that progress is adorable, because you're just like, you know, that one guy that's new to the group, and you just kind of don't like him at first, and then you he's everybody's favorite.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that dynamic so much, and that guy, I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who plays Stu is great. It's just another one of those avenues where you don't think they're gonna go that route when they introduce him, and then to like see him become a werewolf, and he's still essentially the same exact person, just with fangs. Like I love that. Or like the reveal where Taika's character finally is able to reunite with his long lost love. There's a certain, I don't know, it's a very, there's a certain, like you said, a sort of adorable, like aw kind of quality to the movie on top of the comedy.
Yeah.
It's Have you seen much of the show, the spin-off show?
I have seen a little bit, and what I've seen I really enjoyed. Yeah.
That was one other thing I was apprehensive about, where I was like, well, I don't know if I want to see someone else's interpretation of it, but I was really happy the way they handled it. A lot of the tone of the movie is carried over in the show very, very well. I was very happy with that. I haven't seen much of it, but it's definitely that. If you're a huge fan of the movie, you won't be disappointed with the show. So definitely anyone listening, check out both of them. Which, speaking of which, if you're interested and you haven't seen What We Do in the Shadows, or I'm not sure how you can watch. I think the show is on Hulu, but you can rent the movie for up to $3 on pretty much any streaming platform. The YouTube Movies, Google Play, Vudu, Amazon Prime, iTunes, all that. So definitely check out What We Do in the Shadows. It's hilarious. One of my favorite comedies of all time. It's a great movie.